Hey guys, it's Mark from Migraine Pro. And so there's a lot of confusion and a lot of misinformation in the migraine and headache communities about food triggers and food sensitivities and food allergies. And so that's why I created the Food Triggers Guide. And so basically, the Food Triggers Guide goes into what causes migraines, how migraines build up, and how they sort of build up to the threshold, what creates the threshold, what triggers are, and it kind of describes the process of migraine. And then I go into the 10 most common food triggers that are responsible for the majority of sensitivities and triggering through foods. But it's also about dispelling the myths around food triggers because contrary to popular belief, there aren't sort of set food triggers, foods that are triggers, but there's a large amount of foods that are inflammatory that may not necessarily be triggers, but play a big role in creating migraines and getting us up to that threshold and sort of creating inflammation in the brain. So we want to avoid those foods. So the Food Triggers Guide really goes into depth about the foods that you want to avoid that are inflammatory, food triggers, how to find your specific food triggers because that's the most important. And then it goes into the foods that you want to eat because we still want to feed our brain. We have to make sure that our brain is getting enough nutrients because that's what creates resiliency within the brain so that our brain isn't constantly being triggered by little stimuli like the weather or lights or sounds or hormonal changes or these little things that we've dealt with for millions of years. They're completely normal, but when our brain is put into a place where it's become fragile and it doesn't have enough nutrients, then we start getting trigger mode and these like hair triggers where it just the tiniest little things will set us off and put us into a migraine. So the guide really goes into depth in that, and it also talks about it kind of takes you through a step-by-step process to discover what foods you're sensitive to and how to kind of recover that and then how to heal your gut. Because we know gut health is just as important as brain health for migraines. And so you want to heal the gut so that you don't keep sort of creating food triggers because food triggers can be created. And so that you can heal and sort of regain your tolerance for different foods, sort of regain oral tolerance. And so that's the Food Triggers Guide. It's available on the website. I'll link to it below. And so let me know.